Hello out there, wonderful internet world. We are your bearded brothers, and we are back again with yet another sports podcast. Yes.
I was saving it for that.
That's awesome. We have discovered that there's a soundboard now on Discord, so you may be getting an overdose of it this week. I apologize in advance. We are totally amused by this soundboard.
Okay.
We are going to be horrible. We have a lot to talk about. There's been some wild. My God, the NFL this week was probably the wildest NFL week we've had in quite some period of time. There were a number of injuries that changed the complexion of games. There's still one coach that I don't know how he has a fucking job at the moment. And we have to talk baseball, and I'm going to unload in Hockey Corner. Because there are some we need to talk about, people. All right, but let's get started first. Let's talk, you know what? Let's start with the big news, because there is big news. Shohei Ohtani has signed a new deal to stay in Los Angeles. But not with the team in red, with the team in blue. Shohei Ohtani is a Los Angeles Dodgers. 10 years, $700 million, with like 98% of it deferred. They're paying him like $2 million a year for the majority of the contract, and then that final year they just dumped the 680 on him.
Nice.
I don't know what that means. I don't know, but it is funny. I'll take it.
It's weird, but okay.
It's weird, but okay. Yeah, no, so Shohei Ohtani is a Dodger now. That is humongous news. Obviously changes the landscape of everything, but the Japanese reporters are apparently very happy with that, because there's a whole crapload of them now that live in Los Angeles.
Yep.
And they did not want to have to move to Toronto or somewhere else, because that's where Ohtani was going.
Yep.
They are happy to just continue living in LA. I don't know how much of that played into his decision or not, or how much of the 10 years, $700 million.
I was gonna say, I imagine it's more likely the price tag than anything else.
I would think so. I would think so.
Plus, I'm sure that not having to move also makes things a little easier too. So it's like, you're gonna pay me a shit ton of money, and I don't have to move.
Fantastic. All right, quick NBA blurb, because it came out and I thought it was funny. So remember how Ja Morant got in trouble for punching that kid in the face?
Yes.
So he went and defended himself today to the commissioner's office and said that he preemptively attacked the child to defend himself. Apparently, the kid threw like a pass that was a one-handed pass and not well aimed, and it hit him in the head, and it hurt. And then when he tried to talk to the kid about it, the kid like pulled his shorts up, and Ja said, "Where I'm from, that means you're ready to fight." So I hit him before he could hit me.
I mean,
you know, kind of like where you shoot your neighbor because you're pretty sure he's eventually going to shoot you.
Oh God. I mean, maybe the kid was gonna swing on him. It's possible, but at the same time, until you
17.
see him cock back, man, like
he was 17. He's a minor, and you're an NBA star. You can't do that.
I was gonna say, until the kid actually is about to swing on you, you really shouldn't be swinging first. Like, well, the kid was just gonna tell you to fuck off. Like,
but no, it was just one of those things where all I could do was laugh, because that's the dumbest defense I've heard.
He was gonna punch me, sir. What proof do you have of that?
He pulled his
he
shorts
pulled up his shorts up. Okay.
All right. Speaking of one goofball who stuck his foot in his mouth, we have to talk about another two people that stuck their foot in their mouth.
Oh boy.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So we'll talk about how the game went. Eventually.
Oh, you want to talk about that now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and lambaste them right now. Let's not wait until we get to the game. Let's give it its own segment. I think it deserves it, don't you?
I mean, we can.
So
it's gonna get brought up. It's gonna get brought up again later.
It's gonna get brought up again later, but we're gonna talk about it now. The end of the Chiefs game, the Chiefs thought they had the winning touchdown, but it turned out that Kadarius Toney had like half his entire foot and part of his helmet.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was actually his entire foot was over the front of the ball. Actually,
he had like his whole foot was over the line, and he got called
because what a lot of people forget is that blue line they show. That's where the tip of the ball was. If his foot's over that line, that means he's past the tip of the ball.
And that's so he was well over the line of scrimmage, lining up in the neutral zone, and he got called for it. And there were a pair of individuals who were unhappy with that ruling. One of them was the quarterback of the team, who went off on the ref crew and said he'd never heard that penalty called ever, when it was literally called that same week on someone else.
It was actually the game after, and it was called earlier this week. In fact, it's been called, somebody went through the stats, and it's been called a total of 12 times already this year.
There
which
you
is
go.
An emphasis, a point, which they brought up. The main reason for it is the defenses were complaining about the brotherly shove and how they were lining up, and quite often their helmets would be over the line of scrimmage, giving them a slight advantage. And so the NFL went, okay, we hear you, so we'll just call offensive offsides more often.
That's exactly what happened.
We'll pay closer attention to it, That's basically what it was.
So, because you were trying to stop the brotherly shove, you guys all got kind of screwed by that. You better be on your P's and Q's if you're going to call somebody else out. And then Andy Reid said, I've never had it where they haven't at least warned us that guy was offsides. What is that the ref's job? That's not their job. Their job is not to tell you, hey, that guy's offsides, you might want to move him back.
Also, here's the thing about that, too, that bothers the shit out of me is, so if you watch receivers when they play, and it's one thing you might not notice unless you're actually looking for it, but it happens on almost every play. Wide receivers will point to the closest line judge as an indication. They'll basically point at him and go, hey, am I lined up good? Am I good? Do you think I'm good? And quite often the judge will either give him a thumbs up or a back off kind of thing. That happens all the time.
And that's fine.
But the difference is Kadarius Toney didn't do that.
No,
he didn't even look over to his left to the closest line judge at all.
If he had looked over to his left at the line judge and gone, am I good? Am I bad? And the judge then could have said, hey, you probably need to back up a little. That would have been...
Exactly. Those are the warnings they give you. But if you're that far over the line where the judge can't see the ball and you still snap it and you don't make eye contact with the ref, what's he supposed to do outside of, well, that's a flag?
Exactly. Which is why we got so mad earlier this year when they called the Buffalo guy, right? The guy in the Bills game? And they called him for offensive offsides.
Yeah.
And he had looked at the line judge and said, hey, am I good? And the judge had given him the thumbs up. And then still called him for it.
Which, to be fair, they can. It does look kind of dickish, but...
It was very dickish.
To be fair, it is also on the players to know that.
Andy, it is on the players. It is on your player to know where the line is, and if he's not sure, to look over to line judge and kind of get a signal, which Toney
also,
did
by
not
the way,
do.
It would have been really easy, too, if he would have just looked to his left and right and realized, man, none of the other wide receivers are lined up near me. Huh, that's
Maybe
weird.
I should back up a little bit. A couple of feet.
It was it was so obvious that I was just like, dude, the other guys are lined up behind, a good foot behind.
Hold on. So I will say that set is pretty common. It's called a trips bunch. And in a trips bunch, you do have one guy that's set out above the other two.
No,
as the
I
point
agree,
of a triangle.
but I agree, but there's a certain point where you have to look at it.
Oh, yeah, where you have to look and you go, oh.
Even when he looked to the right and he was seeing the lineman, and he's like, come on, how can you not see that the linemen are even behind you?
If you look to your right and the linemen are behind you, you kind of have to go, ooh, maybe I should back up.
Exactly. It's like, come on. And here's the other thing, too, is a lot of people were mad about the flag in the first place, but here's the thing. at least he threw it right away. At least he didn't wait until after the play was going and went, "Oh, I'm going to throw the flag now." He waited
No,
until the
as soon as that
snapped,
ball
it
got
was
snapped,
thrown.
he threw it. Where it was backed by the line, I thought for a minute it was offensive holding.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was going to be. So I was pretty sure that play, as amazing as the play wasn't going to count anyway.
Get called back one way or another. Yeah, exactly.
And yeah.
But so my problem is that like the way that Patrick Mahomes just went off on the refs, especially on the sideline, like during the game, basically,
and
was absolutely
flipped
unacceptable.
Out after the game, and now the thing that I will say is even the commentators pointed it out. Like, this isn't normal because you don't normally see him, even after a loss, get all riled up like this.
Yeah.
So they were like, "This is very abnormal behavior for him. He must be really heated."
Yeah.
And I think
a lot
part
of them
it is that he wasn't entirely just heated at the refs. I think he was super heated at Tony, but he's not going to call his teammate out in the media.
But he should. And there's like
yeah,
at least maybe not in the media, but okay, if he didn't do it on the media, but if he would have went to the sideline and went, "Hey," like went over and talked to Tony and been like, "What the fuck was that?" or something, like got a little emotional there, but instead he immediately turned all of his anger on the refs on the sideline, which is not okay.
And one thing I'll say is that, so from a standpoint of having been in the military and knowing how things should appear to people, appearances do matter. So if you want to dress down Tony as his quarterback, you should do that behind closed doors, and you shouldn't bring it into the media. That's something that you guys
I
need
agree.
To
you don't have to. So I'll say this: you don't have to bring it into the media, but let's not forget Tom Brady used to do that shit all the time on the sidelines. If somebody fucked up on their play, he would go, especially consecutively, he would go to them on the sideline and he'd start talking to them, and he would be obvious he was pretty aggressive about it, but he would never address it in the media. You can do both.
Yeah.
There is a way to do both. Unfortunately, Mahomes chose to not say anything to Tony and then rip a ref's head off.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm not sure that he's ever been in that situation before, so he might have decided discretion with his teammate was the better part of valor. But frankly,
he should have had that same mindset with the refs,
had you gone over and ripped on your teammate and the refs, I don't think people would be as mad. Now, we do want to point out that before people come in here and lambaste us, Mahomes did issue an apology. It was a half-hearted piece of trash apology.
Yeah, it wasn't a good apology
that was obviously more concerned with him saving face and lowering the fine that he's inevitably going to get than it was of him actually believing that anything he did was wrong.
Like, so the thing is, I want to get more heated and angry, but I also, like, I'm just tired and I'm not in that mood right now where I can just start going off. But, like, it bothered the shit out of me because, like, the thing is, I'm highly critical of the refs. You've heard me be highly critical of the refs for the last several weeks. This year has not been good. But when I've criticized the refs, I've never criticized them for doing their job. I've criticized them for doing a bad job. This is a case where they did their job by the book. I'm sorry to tell you, Reed and Mahomes, they don't have to give you a warning. In fact, look at the rulebook. Tell me where in the rulebook it states that they have to give you a warning before throwing the flag. It doesn't fucking exist because they do that to be nice. They don't have to do it. So just because you usually get a warning doesn't mean anything. And you have to remember, usually means that sometimes it happens. Here's the problem, though. Maybe there was no other opportunity to give a warning, and this was so egregious that they had to throw the flag because it was so egregiously bad. Like, it was one of those situations where maybe Kadarius Toney hadn't been offsides the entire game. Maybe that's why you didn't get a warning, because there was never an opportunity until the very end of the game where it was so egregiously bad that they couldn't just wad it off with a warning. And even then, like, stop expecting to get warnings. Like, that's one thing I will say. If there's anything the refs should have learned from this process is don't give warnings anymore. Just throw the fucking flags. Stop giving warnings.
Throw the flag. Absolutely 100%.
Because obviously teams are now getting in their minds where they can just get away with shit and just get warnings and think it's fine. It's obviously the problem.
Yep, that is obviously a huge problem, and it is something that in my mind that should absolutely be nipped right in the bud right now.
Yep. Like if there was a learning experience, it's right here, right now. Like,
yep, 100%, 100%. I think everything else outside of injuries we can talk about when we get to it, because there has been a quarterback change for a team that was not a forced quarterback change.
Yeah,
Outside
we'll
of the
get to
fact
that
of
later.
how bad the quarterback was playing.
Yeah, we'll get to there eventually.
We'll get to all of that eventually. All right. I will. We're going to go over some injuries. I will apologize in advance. Somehow or another, when I was writing up last week's schedule, I missed like 3 games. I missed the Vikings game. Don't know how we didn't talk about that, but I put us both down for the Vikings. I didn't. I missed the Packers Giants game. Don't know how I missed that. I mulliganed us on that. And
I was
then
gonna
there
say
was
I
one
don't even know
other.
what I would have chosen.
There was one other team. One other game that we missed, and I gave us a mulligan on that. But I know who we both would have chosen, and we would have been correct. Um, this week, though, I have made sure that I have all the games. So let's talk injuries. So we're going to talk about the ones that I know the biggest most on first. Uh, Justin Jefferson left the Vikings game with what has been dubbed a chest injury. I thought at first it was a back injury, but they called it a chest injury. They
I think it
have
was
said
just a
that he
rib.
avoided major injury. He did go to a hospital, a local
Yep.
hospital out there in Vegas, and got x rays. They said he avoided major injury. He flew back with the team, and he is expected to play Saturday.
I think the reason why they called it a chest is because they thought it was a rib that he might have like
They
gotten hit
thought
with
he
the
like
back
broke
and
a
it might have cracked
fractured
a
a
rib
rib
or
or
something.
something. Um, Brian O'Neill, ankle injury. He is questionable for Saturday. Dalton Risner left the game with an ankle injury, eventually returned.
Hmm.
Alexander Madison left the game with an ankle injury, did not return. He is questionable for Saturday. Now, on to non Vikings injuries.
Quite a few of
Um,
those too.
so let's talk, because there is one that is a season injury, and that is Connor Williams, the center for the Dolphins. During the game, he left the game early on, blown ACL, done for the season.
Oof.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like there's much season left, but yeah, that's it. Justin Herbert would leave the game and not return due to a finger injury. He is questionable for his next start.
I think it was the same finger he injured earlier this season
I
too.
think so. I think they might shut him down for the season.
Don't
They're
forget
not
about Tyreek.
they're obviously not in a position to make the playoffs. So you may just get a good dose of Easton Stick for the rest of the season.
Oh boy.
Isn't that a great name though?
No,
Easton Stick.
not really.
It's not a good football name. I'll tell you what it is though. It's a
I mean,
good
it would have been a
adult.
good hockey name.
It's a good hockey name, but it's also a good adult film actor name.
Eh. Eh. I mean, that's debatable.
um, Josh Jacobs would leave the Vikings Raiders game with a knee injury that has also been dubbed a quad injury. Um, his status is up in the air for their next game. C.J. Stroud, who took an absolute beating from the Jets defense, he is in concussion protocol. May not start the next game. You may have Davis Mills, the long neck.
Long neck Mills.
Long neck Mills. We'll get to that Jets game because that was probably one of the more surprising results of the week.
That was a game.
Tyreek Hill would leave the game on Monday night for an extended period, but he would come back and attempt to play. I don't know how effective he was. He left
He's
with
still
an
questionable.
Yeah, he left with an ankle injury. They rolled right over his ankle, and it looked bad at first. He was down for a while, and then he looked like he got mad and sprinted off the field, like he wanted to show everybody that he could still go. Apparently, the reason he came back is because he got a text from his wife, and that motivated him to get back out on the field.
I don't know why, because he didn't do anything when he
No,
went
he
back to
really
the field
didn't.
either.
He
He
really
should have just
didn't.
stayed off because he looked like he was definitely hurting and slow. That was
And
really
the other
stupid.
one that was a big injury news that I saw was Tutu Atwell. He left the game. He does have a concussion. He is in concussion protocol, which is sad because he's been a pretty good receiver for them this year. And while Cooper Kupp was out, him and
Yeah.
Puka Nakua were really stepping up. So those are the big injuries. Now, week 14. You ready to go through this?
No.
Nor am I, because we really stunk it up this week.
So many fucking injuries, man.
So many injuries, and we stunk it up this week.
Oh, don't forget about Nico Collins, too.
Oh, yeah, Nico Collins, he left fairly quickly with he got just enough yardage to get 1,000 yards on the season and then left with a calf injury.
Yep.
And he is questionable for next week.
He is questionable again for next week. So, yeah. I'm very sad when I look at my lineup, and I just cry.
Yeah.
And cry.
Yeah.
And cry some more.
Well, I just went ahead and I'm trying to get... you're going to laugh at me. Because I still have Lawrence. And I have Kyler. And I have Minshew, but I was like, you know what? Let me look around. Browning was still available, so I'm dropping Minshew and trying to get Browning.
So I put in Goff last week.
I'm sorry.
That was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
I could have put in Lawrence. He looked bad for most of the game and then did okay. But really, the one guy on my bench that I didn't even consider I should have put in was Desmond Ridder. Because he actually had a pretty damn good game.
I've got a better one for you. So I had on my team, I had Laporta starting at tight end.
Mistake.
Especially when I had Evan Ingram sitting on my bench.
Oh, I played against him this week. That was
32 points.
Yeah, that wasn't fun.
I also started Jordan Addison.
Oh, yeah.
And left Wilson on the bench.
Oof, yep.
Yep. That literally toasted my entire, the rest of everything else. Because I had some okay stuff from everywhere else. Those two alone literally just were like, I was done.
I was second in the league, and I think I'm going to drop all the way out of playoffs. Because I don't think I'm going to win a single one of my rest of my weeks with how many injuries I have now.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of getting there and just scrambling myself, so. Alrighty. But, getting into this. Thursday night. Patriots at Steelers. We both picked the Steelers. Bam! Surprise, there's the numbers. We were both wrong. Patriots win 21-18. If anybody says they saw that coming, you're lying to me.
It wasn't very fun to watch, though.
No, it was not. And very early on, they lost T.J. Watt. He went out very early. He got like a knee in the face or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he had a head injury very early on. I think the most fun early on was watching Zappy pick apart the Pittsburgh defense. 19 of 28, 240 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. He looked really good for the first half.
That second half was awful.
The second half was disgustingly awful. Ezekiel Elliott, 22 carries, 68 yards. Smith-Schuster, 4 receptions, 90 yards. On the other side, Trubisky, 22 of 35, 190 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. 8 carries, 30 yards, and a touchdown. If your quarterback is your leading rusher and it's for 30 yards, you have an issue. Deontay Johnson, 3 receptions, 57 yards, and a touchdown. Look, Trubisky tried. But there was no way that team was going to be good enough to beat the way the Patriots came out and were playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That was... You know what game it was that we forgot? The Panthers-Saints game. And I think we both would have picked the Saints to beat the Panthers, so...
Yeah, probably.
All right. Moving right down the list. Bucks at Falcons. You picked the Bucks. I picked the Falcons. You win that game. 29-25. Although that was a hell of a game.
It was surprisingly good.
It was surprisingly good. Way better than it had any right to actually be. Oh, and by the way, we answered your question. Where was Drake London last week?
Oh,
he was saving out everything for this week. He packed 2 weeks worth of offense in this week.
Yep.
We'll get there in a minute. Baker Mayfield, 14 of 29, 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rashad White, 25 carries, 102 yards. Goodwin, 5 receptions, 53 yards. Ritter, 26 of 40, 347 yards. A touchdown and a pick. Algier, 9 carries, 40 yards. Drake London, 10 receptions, 172 yards. Woof! That's what we were looking for, something like that last week. But he packed it all into a single week, at almost 200 yards receiving in a single week. He was like, oh, I wasn't involved last week. Well, I'm going to be involved this week. Give me the damn ball. Sadly, that game was in doubt up until the final 30 seconds of the game. And there was still a chance, even after that the Falcons might come back and win it. That they could go downfield and get into field goal range, and they just couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But hell of a game. So, moving along. Colts at Bengals. We both picked the Colts. We were both wrong. Bengals win 34-14. They lambasted the Colts. And Jake Browning, once again, looked pretty damn good. Like, he went from a couple of games where he looked like total trash to like, okay, he's a serviceable backup. He can throw the ball. He's good. He knows what he's looking at. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Minshew, 26 of 39, 240, a touchdown and a pick. Zach Moss, 13 carries, 28 yards. What the fuck was that? My dude. Pittman, 8 receptions, 95 yards. Jake Browning, 18 of 24, 275, 2 and a pick. Right now, everybody in Cincy has to be saying, come on, Browning, get us to the playoffs.
We'll see.
Mixon, 21 carries, 79 yards, and a touchdown. Chase Brown, 3 receptions, 80 yards, and a touchdown. That's their other running back, by the way. Dude's quicker than a hiccup.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to say about that game? Outside of you missed Joe Burrow?
I mean, Browning's not Burrow. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Browning is not Burrow, but Browning
is
is looking like he's got some potential there. Next game. Jags at Browns. You picked the Jags. I picked the Browns. I picked the Browns because I didn't think Lawrence was going to play. Lawrence wound up playing. Although it was obvious he was not 100%.
Ooh.
I win. Browns win 31-27. This was actually a really good game.
It was pretty good, yeah.
Outside of, like, Lawrence overthrowing his receivers a couple of times and getting picked off. Yeah, there were a couple of those where I was like, where are you going with that? Overall, he could have had a worse game, but it's hard to think about how. Lawrence goes 28 of 50, 257, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. Etienne, 14 carries, 35 yards, and a touchdown. Ingram, 11 receptions, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ingram was a beast this week, and I left him on my bench because I'm a dumbass. Flacco. That's right. Everybody's favorite old quarterback, Joe Flacco, has been pulled out of mothballs. Goes 26 of 45 for 311 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Is Joe Flacco the best quarterback that the Browns have had this season?
Apparently he got put back to practice squad already. I read that like right after he had statistically the best game that the Browns quarterbacks have had, he got thrown back to practice squad. I don't know why, but he's on the practice squad now.
Ford, 12 carries, 51 yards. I believe he also got some kind of injury. And Njoku, 6 receptions, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. Apparently, Joe Flacco is the best quarterback the Browns have had, and they immediately went, "No, we don't want you anymore. Bye."
Yeah, I don't even know who they're going to start. I think it's DTR. I think they're throwing it back to him. So,
yeah. I don't know what's going on in Cleveland anymore.
They're just throwing QBs and going, defense, you can win us games.
Apparently, that's a thing. Moving along, then, this game hurt to watch, but it was also hilarious at the same time, and I don't know why. Texans at Jets. We both picked the Texans. We were both woefully incorrect. The Jets win 30-6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stroud wasn't having a good game before he went out. 10 of 23, 91 yards. Singletary, 13 carries, 65 yards and a touchdown. Jordan, 3 receptions, 35 yards. On the other side of things, Zach Wilson, 27 of 36, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. He torched the Texans defense.
Not something you expect to say of Zach Wilson.
Not something you expect to say. Zach Wilson was the best quarterback on the field that day. Breece Hall, 10 carries, 40 yards, and Garrett Wilson, 9 receptions, 108 yards. I don't know what happened to Wilson while he was on the bench for those couple of weeks, but apparently something happened because he's come back and been like, okay, I'm the man. Maybe somebody's mother fell in love with him.
I don't know. Maybe.
Anything else you want to say about that game? Outside of, good God, the Jets defense?
Well, more like Texans offense is so hampered when you don't have QB and your 2 wide receivers are out. So
that too, I'm sure, did not help. I think the magical season the Texans were having might be kind of over at this point.
With that many injuries, probably.
I mean, I hate to say it because it's been fun to watch.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen the Tom Grossi's NFL script?
Yeah, they blew up his car.
Was that? Yep. My
car.
That shit was so funny. Then another game that was interesting. Rams at Ravens. Holy crap, was this game weird. We both picked the Ravens, and we were both correct, but it took overtime for us to figure that out. Ravens win 37-31 on a walk-off punt return touchdown.
Hell of a game, though.
Oh, yeah. Hell of a game. I don't think anybody saw this game going this way. Each of these teams put on a hell of an offensive show, and it was fun to watch. There was at least one catch. Yeah, it was the one Odell Beckham had in the second quarter that was his touchdown catch. The ball was slightly underthrown, and he turned around to get it, and he fell backwards, and he slid on his back into the end zone, which was a touchdown because nobody touched him. So, if you fall down while you're receiving the ball, you're allowed to get back up and keep going. Mm-hmm. So he crossed the plane while sliding on his back.
Mm-hmm.
Just, what a catch. Stafford, 23 of 41, 294, 3 touchdowns. Williams, 25 carries, 114 yards. By the way, I think he's their new feature back. I don't think that anybody's going to snag that spot from him. Cooper Kupp, 8 receptions, 115 yards, and a touchdown. And my God, that touchdown catch was just dumb. Like, Kupp is so good as a receiver. Lamar Jackson, 24 of 43, 316, 3 touchdowns and a pick. He also ran the ball 11 times for 70 yards. Odell Beckham, 4 receptions, 97 yards and a touchdown. And then, of course, the walk-off punt return by Tylan Wallace. 76-yard punt return for the win. Holy crap. That was an amazing game. I don't know if I can talk about how much I appreciated watching that game.
Fair.
Did you enjoy the pieces you saw?
I mean, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think it was pretty good.
Enjoyable. It's pretty enjoyable overall.
I don't think anything will beat the Monday night games, but especially one of them, because I always like seeing green and gold tiers.
I mean, green and gold?
Green and yellow, green and gold, whatever the fuck they are.
I think it's green and yellow, but fair.
Whatever. Cheesehead tears. I always like seeing cheesy tears.
It's a weird way to put that, but okay.
Did you like that one? Moving along. Probably the upset of the week, in my opinion. At least one of them. Lions at Bears. We both picked the Lions. We were both wrong. The Bears decimate the Lions 28-13. I think this was Justin Fields' most complete game.
Yeah.
Certainly his best game as a quarterback, as starting quarterback in the regular season.
Yeah.
However, starting on the Lions side, Goff, 20 of 35 for 161, a touchdown, and 2 picks. That was trash, Jared. That was straight trash. Gibbs, 11 carries, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Reynolds, 3 receptions, 44 yards, and a touchdown. The Bears' defense really took it to them and did not allow Goff a lot of time to set up and throw.
Yeah.
I think adding Montez Sweat to that defense has charged up that pass rush. They look a lot better than they did earlier this season. And at 5-8, they aren't completely out of it yet. Which is kind of weird to say. Fields, 19 of 33, 223 yards and a touchdown. Also, 12 carries, 58 yards and a touchdown. DJ Moore, 6 catches, 68 yards and a touchdown. I think it's taken Fields a while to establish a rapport with Moore, but I think he's got one now. And Cole Kmet is a monster, and I think Fields is starting to get more comfortable in the offense, and he's starting to look better. At this point, I almost wonder if it wouldn't be wise to trade that first round pick down like 2 picks or a pick, and still get Marvin Harrison Jr. as we were talking about. Why pick him first overall if you can take him second or third? Because you're going to, obviously Caleb Williams and Drake May are going to be the 2 big prizes at the top for quarterback needy teams. Get what you can out of that and then grab Marvin Harrison and keep Justin Fields if he can, wait till the end of the season and see what you can get. Because if he self-destructs or just flops, get rid of him. Take one of the 2 big quarterbacks. But if he continues to put up good games like this, maybe you got something. Get him another big-name receiver. Let's see what we can do with that. If nothing else, it's going to be interesting. Now, the game we missed. Panthers at Saints. I think we both would have picked the Saints. But it's a mulligan, so neither of us gets points on this one, sadly. Saints do win 28-6, knocking the Panthers down to 1-12.
I think they're probably getting the first pick. Except for it's the Bears' first pick.
Except it's the Bears' first pick.
Because I don't think there's anyone else that's even contending with that at this point now. Like, I think the next closest is Cardinals, right? With like 2 or 3 wins.
3 wins?
3 wins, I think.
3 wins?
And Patriots
there
now
anybody
have,
else
I think,
that only-
3 wins also.
The Patriots now have 3 wins because they beat.
They just beat the Steelers.
They
I think
beat
they were
the
at
Steelers.
2 last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I could be. Hold on, I'm gonna double check that. They're either at 2 or 3 wins now.
They're at 3. Because they were at 2.
They have 3.
They were at 2. The only team that only had 1 win was the Panthers.
I'm just double checking to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. Yeah, they're at 3 now. So, and the Cardinals are at 3 as well, and the Commanders are at 4. So
And the
yeah,
Commanders
as
are
long
4, yeah.
as basically as long as the Panthers don't win a single game left, which I don't know if they can, they'll definitely get the first.
Well,
first
not
pick.
with stat lines like this. Bryce Young, 13 of 36, 137 yards.
13 of 36. Bro, just take him out. Just take him out. Put him in
And
the
that's what I've
backup
been
and let
saying.
him sit for the rest.
Let him sit the rest of the season and put Dalton in.
Because he obviously isn't ready to go. He needs time to just relax because he looks even less poised than he did before. Like under Frank Reich, you could tell that he looked okay, but this game looked by far his worst. Like,
oh yeah, he looked terrible.
It's clear they're just throwing him in the deep end and saying, "Figure it out," and it's not working. Stop
It's
doing
not
this.
going to, and it's going to ruin him.
You're honestly going to ruin him. Yeah,
Yep,
you're going to ruin
they're
him.
going to ruin him, and I'm going to sit here and just watch it happen.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but yeah, they're going to completely ruin that poor kid. Chuba Hubbard, 23 carries, 87 yards. Look, everybody knows that Hubbard is coming. I will say that this was probably the one game where...
You're good. Keep going.
yeah?
You're good.
Oh, you're just picking up your Starburst?
Yes, I am. I'm a fatty fat Sid. Okay? Leave me alone.
This was the one game where, what's his name that they signed in the offseason, whom you got rid of.
Yes.
He actually had some good runs this game and didn't look like total trash.
Still wasn't great.
No. Adam Thielen, old man Thielen, 5 receptions, 74 yards.
Surprisingly did okay.
Derek Carr, 18 of 26, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Kamara, 12 carries, 56 yards and a touchdown. A.T. Perry, 1 reception, 44 yards. Okay. This game, Olave also got a touchdown, and there was a Jimmy Graham sighting. He caught a touchdown as well. What I do remember about that made me laugh is that Jimmy Graham once said the only quarterback he'd ever play with was the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
The Super Bowl winning one. Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
God! I'm so
I'm
old.
going to judge you real hard.
Dude, my brain is just like, did you smell that?
Oh, I knew. I was waiting for it.
Did you smell that? That was my brain. It had a fart.
I know. I was waiting for it. I was like, come on. You can get there.
Drizzle that shit all up in my brain. So, this is another game we missed and did not talk about. To be honest, I'm glad. We both would have picked the winning team. But oh my god, the NFL owes me money for watching this game from start to finish.
Oh, I don't know. I think there's a different game the NFL owes me money.
This is the game they owe me money for. Vikings at Raiders.
Oh, no, this is that one. Okay.
Yeah, this is the one we're going to talk about. We both would have picked the Vikings. We'd have both been right, but we're not getting any points for it because I didn't put it on the list. Vikings win 3-0. This game was such a pile of shit that I was rooting for a 0-0 tie, which has happened before in the NFL, but not in the Super Bowl era. The last time was like 80 years ago.
Oh, by the way, apparently this is the lowest scoring game that's happened for 16 years. Well done, Vikings.
In fact, this week had 2 games go to the half at 0-0, and that hasn't happened in like 3 or 4 years. They haven't had a game go to 0-0 at half. They've had 2 this week. This game was trash.
I don't even know if it was a football game.
they almost had a 6-0 game because Joseph had a shot at a field goal earlier in the game and shanked
Oh
that
yeah,
thing.
and shanked the shit out of it. Yeah.
Shanked the absolute trash out of it. But he hit the final field goal to win the game. I don't even know if I want to go over stats for this game because it was just trash. I don't even think it's worth going over stats. I will say that Dobbs got pulled and Mullins got put in. And apparently now Dobbs is sitting on the bench and Mullins is going to be our starter. And we have a question. Where the fuck is Jared Hall?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody knows. Like, did we just decide he's not the answer? What are we doing?
They must have. I don't know.
So this is something I told Chris. Even if we somehow lose out the rest of the way down, which I don't think is going to happen, I think we'll win at least one more game, maybe two. Even if we lose, but even if we were to lose out the rest of the way, the final 4 games of the season, now we'd be at 7-10. We're not going to get high enough up to get a great QB. We're not going to be high enough up that any of those teams up there are going to want to trade back with us. And
Get ready for the Kirk Cousins run back.
Exactly. I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to sign Cousins again, which is the dumbest possible thing they can do.
I don't know if it's the dumbest. Sticking with Dobbs would be the dumbest.
I mean, we were all hyped about Dobbs, and let's be honest, I'm very happy for the games that he played where he was good, and it was fun to watch, and we could all go, yay, passed or not. But it's quite obvious that there's a reason he's not a starting quarterback. He cannot read a defense.
Well, he's inconsistent.
He's very inconsistent. He's either really good or he's total trash.
Pretty much.
And the problem is, if you're going to be inconsistent, you need to either be really good or middling.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like he's either on point, hitting everything, nothing can touch him, or I can't read this defense for some reason, and for whatever reason, I just can't hit a pass to save my fucking life.
Exactly. And that's exactly how I feel about it. Is like, I'm not overly mad that we traded for him. It was a fun little ride, you know? But I am very upset now that, like, we went on such a good streak that, see, my mind, I feel like I'd have signed like a Colt McCoy or something rather than have traded for Dobbs. Like, I like the fact that we didn't have to pay much for him, but when we lost Cousins to that injury, at that point we should have taken it as, because we were riding pretty high, but we were out Jefferson and now we're out Cousins. At that point, pull the plug on the season, tank it out.
It still would have been, the problem is, you gotta remember, is that even at that point we were still not going to be able to tank it enough. Like, our team is just too good to have still been able to tank it that much. Like,
I think we only had like 5 wins or 6 wins at that point.
Yeah, exactly. We had 5 wins at that point. There's no way that we would have tanked out the rest of our games. It wasn't going to happen. That's what I'm saying. Is the team is too good that we wouldn't have actually tanked it out. So I get what they're doing exactly what they have to do, which is
trying to get us
to win games and make it to the playoffs. And just hope that
the problem, like, there's going to be enough QBs in this draft that one of them will fall to us, I'm sure. But we're going to do something dumb like take a cornerback in the first round.
Well, the thing is, last draft went pretty well. I don't think they're going to be that stupid. We'll see. Like, there could be like a really good guy that actually drops into the second. We've seen that happen before, so.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're obviously not getting a Caleb Williams. You're not going to get a Drake May.
But I would I would be okay with like a J.J. McCarthy or a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix Jr.
And you're definitely not getting that kid from LSU who was originally like,
yeah,
people were like, oh, that might be an option. It's not happening now.
No, Jaden something or another. No, yeah, he's going to go pretty high too. But no, like a Bo Nix or a Penix Jr. Either one of them I'd be okay with. Both of them have had pretty good years, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I just look at it, what we got, and the thing is, I want to see Hall because I want to know, is that kid got a future? Or are you saying that you don't want to start him because he's so bad that he's not going to even be that? Like,
Or are you saying that he is definitively not the starter coming up, that he's going to be a career backup?
yeah, like is that what's happening? Is he's just never going to be the guy?
Yeah.
Like, or are you saying that we just don't want to throw him in too early and that you only did it the one game because you had no one else to start? Like,
And that could very well be, you know?
I don't know.
I don't know either. And at this point, I don't like. I don't know what's going on in the Vikings front office, but something is screwy, and I don't like it.
Well, I think they're just trying to make do with what they got, but a lot of the quarterback decisions are coming down to obviously um, Kevin O'Connell. So for whatever reason, he's been working closely with Hall, but I think is worried about starting him for some reason. I don't know if it's because he's worried about him reading NFL defenses, if he's worried about getting him injured, if what he sees during practice isn't enough progression. I don't know.
I don't know either. But
And we
there's
won't know until somebody asks him about it, and no one has.
And no one has. And there's something obviously just. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Like, for example, if Nick Mullins plays bad also this week, like I think a reporter has to finally ask and go, what about Hall? What's going on there?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, if for some reason, Mullins doesn't play very well, then you have to start asking, is Hall a possibility? Could we see Hall as the starter? Is there... Because you're obviously not going to go back to Dobbs. I mean, what do you do at that point?
Exactly.
All right. Next game. Seahawks at Niners. We both picked the Niners. We were both correct. Niners win 28-16. Although, in the first half, this game was a lot better and closer than it had any right to be. It didn't get out of hand until the second half.
Right.
Locke looked pretty good in there for Geno. I was not disappointed. 22 of 31, 269, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. I mean, overall, that could have been way worse, considering what we've seen from him in the past. Charbonnet, 9 carries, 44 yards. Lockett, 6 catches, 89 yards. Purdy, 19 of 27, 368 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. McCaffrey, 16 carries, 145 yards. Debo, 7 receptions, 149, and a touchdown. This was definitely, yet again, another game where you just went, wow. The Niners are definitely on their game right now. They're going to be really hard to beat.
Yeah.
Now for what is probably the upset of the week, and a game we both got wrong. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Bills at Chiefs. We both picked the Chiefs. We would both lose. Bills win 20-17. Mainly due to that late penalty by Kadarius Toney.
Mm-hmm. All Tony's fault.
Josh Allen, 23 of 42, 233 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Cook, 10 carries, 58 yards. Also, 5 receptions, 83 yards, and a touchdown to be their leading receiver. Mahomes, 25 of 43, 271 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Edwards-Helaire, because Pacheco was out, 11 carries, 39 yards. And Kelsey, 6 for 83. Although he almost had a beautiful lateral for the final touchdown.
Almost.
Only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The play looked good. Like, he made a good decision.
He made a great decision. It just, when your guy lines up that far off sides, we've already discussed that ad nauseum, so we're not going to get into that here. But yeah, that, like, Mahomes, you didn't do a lot to help your team either.
No.
All right, moving right along. Broncos at Chargers should be the game that gets Brandon Staley fired. Probably won't be.
It won't.
It won't be.
It should, but it won't.
It should. We both picked the Broncos. We were both correct. The Broncos win 24-7. Russell Wilson, 21 of 33, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Williams, 17 carries, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Sutton, 3 catches, 62 yards, and a touchdown. Leading passer for the Chargers, Easton Stick, 13 of 24 for 179 yards. Eckler, 10 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown. And guess who led them in receiving? Quentin Johnson, 3 receptions, 91 yards. Good job. Finally. About time you showed up. And now, let's talk about the Sunday night game, shall we?
Sure.
This game was ugly. Eagles at Cowboys. You picked the Eagles, I picked the Cowboys. I win this week 2-1. Cowboys win 33-13. Something is off with Hurts. I think he might be hurt. 18 of 27 for 197 yards. Swift, 11 carries for 39 yards. Brown, 9 receptions for 94 yards. And let's not forget that he dropped a pass on like the 3-yard line. That would have been like a touchdown. And Devonta Smith dropped a touchdown too.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles are just self-destructing all of a sudden. But Dak, 24 of 39, 271, 2 touchdowns. Pollard, 16 carries, 59 yards. And Ferguson, 5 receptions, 72 yards. Lamb caught a touchdown. Gallup caught a touchdown. And Brandon Aubrey kicked 4 field goals. 3 of them from 50 or beyond. That's just dumb. But the Cowboys do win. They are now first place in the NFC South or East division. The Falcons, no, not the Falcons. The Bucs are now the king of Poop Mountain in the NFC South. They are the king of the dumpster fire that is the NFC South. What a trash division this year. I'm not sure that anybody will disagree with me on that.
Pretty much.
All right, you ready?
I mean, it can be.
Cheese tears? All right, you ready for those yellow and green tears?
Okay, I was gonna say, don't say yellow and gold. That ain't gonna work.
I almost did too.
I know. I saw you almost come out the gold.
Yeah, cheese tears.
Yep.
Packers at Giants. This is not a game we picked. So mulligan.
It was a good game though. Like the first quarter
not
was
if you were a
boring as
Packers
shit, but
fan.
after, honestly, it was still a good game for the Packers. Like they didn't play horrible. They didn't play good. They didn't play horrible.
Giants win 24-22. Jordan Love no longer looking lovely.
No. Didn't he throw like a pick and get a fumble loss too?
Yes.
Yep.
25 of 39, 218 yards, a touchdown and a pick. I believe he also did lose a fumble. Dillon, 15 carries, 53 yards. Kraft, 4 receptions, 64 yards.
I will say that one kid that they had doing some end arounds looked really good. What was his name? They had him do some real...
Taylor?
Huh?
Taylor? Patrick Taylor?
No. Reed.
Oh, Jaden Reed.
Yeah, he looked pretty good, actually. They're probably getting him kind of more involved, and he looked pretty decent.
Yeah. Flipping along that thing, though, Tommy DeVito. DeVito. By the way,
everyone in the Giants Stadium doing that was hilarious.
Did you see his agent?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, his agent was wearing sunglasses and one of those fucking hats that he looked like a mobster. He literally looked like he belonged to the mafia. It was so fucking awesome.
Seeing his family there was hilarious. His mom.
Oh yeah, you know his mama's cooking the spaghetti tonight.
The spaghetti. And then what was it? I think I saw him do like a celebration with one of his receivers where they did that to each other, like they high-fived each other doing
Yeah.
hey.
DeVito,
Fucking
17 of 21, 158 yards and a touchdown. Barkley, 20 carries, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. Robinson, 6 receptions, 79 yards. And literally, it was as time expired, Randy Bullock kicked a 37-yard field goal to win the game for the Giants. I don't know how long the DeVito ride is going to last, but I'm going to enjoy it for however long it does, because we didn't think this was the dude, but
the first two games he played were trash, but these last 3 games have been fucking fun.
They have been. If he can keep this up, I'm going to enjoy this.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the guy permanently. He can't be the guy permanently because Daniel Jones gave a giant fucking contract to you, but like, maybe he should be.
Maybe he should be, and maybe they should try to find a new home for Daniel Jones.
Good luck. I don't know anyone that's going to take on that massive contract they gave him.
Well, you know...
No.
No, not us.
No. Okay, good. I was going to be like, no, fuck no.
I was going to say, well, you know, the Commanders are known for doing really dumb things like that.
Yeah, but Sam Howell's playing just as well as Daniel Jones, and they're paying him way less. What? A really bad idea.
I agree. But they're known for doing dumb things like that.
Now, if we want to talk about an owner that might be stupid enough to do it. I mean, the Panthers are looking pretty shit right now.
I was also going to say, you know who else might do it? The Patriots.
Ooh. Well, the fact that they're going to get out one...
Especially if Belichick retires.
No, because they'll just get one in the draft because they have such a high draft pick. I think they have like currently the 2nd or 3rd. So they're gonna get, if they don't get Caleb Williams, they're gonna get like Drake May, right?
Yeah, we'll see. Now, the final game of the week. We both picked Miami to win this one. It was Tennessee at Miami, Titans at Dolphins. We both picked the Fins. We were both wrong. The Titans rally late to honor the late Frank Wycheck, who unfortunately passed away over the weekend at the age of 52. You probably don't remember Frank Wycheck, but I definitely remember Frank Wycheck. Big part of the Music City Miracle.
I was going to say a Music City Miracle. That's the only reason I know his name, to be fair.
He was a hell of a tight end, though. But
yeah, I never really watched him much, but that's how
I got to watch him a lot, and he was really good.
It's the only reason I know him.
Sadly passed away at the age of 52. However, the Titans win 28-27. You know what? Will Levis looked pretty damn good.
He wasn't... He was a little rough at first, but he started to kind of get into the flow towards the end of the game.
Yeah, especially as he kept finding Hopkins.
Yep.
Levis, 23 of 38, 327 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Henry, 17 carries, 34 yards, but 2 touchdowns. If you're not going to have a lot of yardage, you better find the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
And Hopkins, 7 receptions, 124 yards and a touchdown. Tua, 23 of 33, 240 yards. Mostert, 21 carries, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. Waddle, 6 receptions, 79 yards. Yeah, this, honestly, as much as I'm looking at this and wondering what the was going on here.
Oh, I mean, the answer's obvious. Once Tyreek was out, the defense didn't have to cover him as much, so they were able to spread out more. Exactly,
that's what happened. And even when he came back, they tried something, and it didn't work.
No. Like, honestly, Tyreek is such a menace that, like, he really does have that effect on defenses that if he's not there, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, all we got to cover is Waddle and maybe the tight end a little bit. We're good. Like, because I think their tight end's Gesicki, right? So.
Yeah.
So once they no longer had to cover Tyreek, who's a pain in the ass to cover, the rest was easy.
Speed kills, literally in both ways.
Yep.
All right, you want to do... Let's wrap up all this stuff for this week, pick next week's games, and then power hockey rankings, and call it a night?
Sure.
All righty. Game balls!
Me or you first?
You can go first. I've got plenty here.
Okay, Lamar Jackson, game ball.
Drake London, game ball.
Evan Ingram, game ball.
That was one of mine. You know what, though? Zach Wilson, game ball.
That's fair. Debo Samuel, you get another game ball.
Joe Flacco, game ball.
Fair enough.
I also had Justin Fields on my list.
Yeah, okay.
But Joe Flacco, when am I ever going to be able to give another game ball to Joe Flacco?
Apparently not ever again since he's back to practice squad. Poor Joe. Like, you gotta feel bad for that guy. He just had one of the best games he's had in forever, and all of a sudden, and you're back in the practice squad, my guy. Aww. Like, fucking sucks.
All right. Showers?
Yeah. You or me?
I'll start. Jared Goff, hit the showers.
Dang it. Aiden O'Connell, hit the showers. That was your worst game you've played.
Trevor Lawrence, hit the showers. Look, I understand you may have been playing injured. You probably shouldn't have. Sit down.
Yep. Mike Evans, you were disappeared. Where the fuck were you? You caught one ball of 6 targets for, I think, like 13 yards. For somebody who's known as being the deep ball guy normally, this was a bad game for you.
It really was. The last one I feel really conflicted about saying, but I'm going to do it anyway. CJ Stroud, hit the showers. And I feel bad, but you were not. I get it. You didn't have Nico Collins. You didn't have Tank Dell. You still need to find a way to make this shit work.
I mean, he also got concussed halfway through the game.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Is like partway through the game, you got the concussion. But even before that, You weren't playing great. You weren't giving yourself a chance to win.
Hey, you were playing like DeVito.
You were playing like DeVito in his first 2 games.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel bad, but at the same time, you needed to do better.
And my last one, Dobbs. Just hit the showers for a while. You know what? Take the bench with you into the shower and sit on the bench in the shower.
Alrighty. It's Inferno time.
It is indeed.
It is indeed Inferno time. I'll start this one off. Or actually, you start this one off. Go ahead.
We're going to go in descending order for my first one. Andy Reid. You're in the second circle, my guy. You're only here because there's one comment you absolutely cannot make. And that comment is that play was a disgrace to the National Football League. Dude, you're going to get slapped. You think the NFL is going to tolerate you saying that? Bro, come on. You can't be doing that.
I had Andy Reid in here for that same thing, but I'm going to switch him out with Patrick Mahomes in the first circle. Dude, you can't be going after the refs like that. That's not cool. You're going to get slapped along with Reid. You could literally make the package deal out of this. But you're in the first circle. You're not boiling. You're just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Unfortunately, I disagree. Mahomes is in my fucking 7th circle because that was so egregious, so bad, that in my mind, we saw what Patrick Mahomes is actually like. I think he's a piece of shit of a human, to be honest. Like, I've never seen him give good press conferences. Most of the time, it's been boilerplate press conferences, and his family at times kind of seems kind of like jerks, and now I'm kind of figuring out that maybe he's just a jerk. And he's just really good at playing it off because he's charismatic as fuck.
Well, Bill Belichick. Guess what? The only reason you're on here is because I wanted to say congratulations for getting out of the 10th circle. You have moved up to the 8th circle just by the fact that you managed to win a fucking football game again.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. You're at the 8th circle. You're still getting fired at the end of the year. You're still going to have to retire. But at this point, you're in the 8th circle. You look, if you fuck up, I'm going to get you. But you know what? You did good enough. You did good enough that I am going to be very happy with you and move you to the 8th circle.
And my final one. Welcome back to my 8th circle. Brandon Staley. How do you still have a job, sir? How are you still here?
I disagree with you on that. Brandon Staley, welcome to my fucking 10th circle. You are on fire. You should not have a job. As far as I'm concerned, they should fire you straight into the fucking sun. And I'm fully in agreement with whoever said it. You need to go back to Division III college football where you actually belong. You're a terrible coach. The only guy that might be worse than you is Josh the Snake McDaniels. And even then, that's a hard row to hoe.
I don't know. Cliff Kingsbury wasn't great.
You know what? I'd even take
over
Cliff Kingsbury over Staley.
I don't know. They're almost equivalent, just in different versions of themselves, almost. Yeah, don't bite me, mister. You're gonna get slapped.
Potato time. Potatoes. I'll start. Maybe, just maybe, this is Tommy DeVito's, he's that guy, yeah?
I mean, I'm a little upset because now I have to change my hot potatoes because that was my first one, too. So, there's my feelings on that. I don't know if he's actually the guy, but, like, he's looking good. He's had a good 3 games. We'll see if he continues it. We've obviously seen this before, personally, so we'll have to wait and see, but so far, so good. He's gotten... The one thing I will say is he's continuously gotten better. Like, every game, he just looks a little better, a little better, a little better,
And that's all you really need to do is to be a good QB, especially if you haven't played. You just need to get a little better every game and prove that you are good enough to improve.
Exactly. So, you know, he might eventually become the guy just from continuously playing and getting a little better every time. Well, I'm going to swap out my first one, but I'll think of something later. So we'll go to my second one instead. Maybe, just possibly. This is a little bit of a guess, but maybe the Cowboys are actually the best team in the NFC.
Oh, God damn it. It's not quite the same as mine, but I have one about the Cowboys, too. No, you'll find out when I get to mine. Oh, I'll eat that. I'll load that even up. They might very well be the way they're playing right now. And it's either,
only because really right now the only other competition is the Niners.
Yeah,
right now, yeah,
it's them or the Niners, and they're playing really well right now. So I would not want to face them if I were the Niners.
That's fair. Yeah, I agree.
So I'll give my Cowboys one now just to follow yours up. Maybe, just maybe, this really is the Cowboys' year.
Every year's the Cowboys' year if you ask the fans.
Yes, but this time they're right.
The problem is the Cowboys, I don't know if it's going to be this year because the one problem they always have, is they just can't get past playoffs. They can look amazing in regular season, but they stumble in playoffs. So I don't know if I want to quite go in all yet, but this is definitely one of the better seasons they've had in a long time. So if it's gonna be a year, it'll be this year. All right. I still don't have a replacement for my weak sauce one that we've already been called out on. So I'm going for the haymaker. I'm going to try to shove this potato down your mouth and just see what happens.
Let's see what you got.
Maybe, just maybe, Zach Wilson doesn't actually suck, and it was all bad play calling.
I don't know if it was all I don't know if it was all bad play calling. You know what? I'll eat it plain, if only because I'm not sure that he does suck. Frankly, I'd like to see him get traded and go somewhere else and get a chance with a different coach and a different system.
Yeah,
maybe somewhere that's got smaller lights, a smaller city, a smaller place, because it took them shipping Brett Favre out of Atlanta to Green Bay for him to get good, because he'd have drank himself to death in Atlanta.
100%.
Well, and the coach actually said that I sent him to Green Bay because they didn't have bars open that late.
I mean, to be fair, they do have a lot of bars, though.
They do. They're just not open late.
Well, it depends on the bar nowadays, but yeah.
I'd like to... You know what? As much as this is probably going to sound stupid, I wouldn't mind seeing him come to Minnesota to see what O'Connell could do with him. As a backup and nothing else.
I mean, I get it, but I don't think it happens.
Oh, I don't think so either. But I wouldn't mind seeing it. there's a few other places where I wouldn't mind seeing him go to see what a coach that is actually a decent coach could do with him.
Yeah.
So
Send him over to the Seahawks. That'd be kind of fun.
Actually, that wouldn't be bad. Pete Carroll is a hell of a good quarterback coach. I'd love to see what he could do with
That'd be kind of fun, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he turned Geno Smith's career into something decent.
Just another ex-Jets QB. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
We just got a younger one now.
You know what I really want to. You know what other one would be fun? Because he's starting to get older. Bring him into Denver. Let him back up Russell Wilson for the last couple of years. See what Sean Payton can do with him.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how much I trust Sean Payton, but I get it.
All right, so my final one. Or no, it's your turn again.
I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the replacement of my first one.
Or no, it is my turn, and then it's your turn. Because I got a final one. Because I went first.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
I'm still thinking anyways.
Maybe the Vikings have no clue what they're actually doing.
No, I disagree with you on that hardcore. The thing is, when you have as many injuries as they do, they have to kind of fly by the seat of their pants. I think KOC has kind of an idea and plan. I trust the guy. He's done a good job coaching. Brian Flores has done a great job with that defense. Mesa has done a pretty good job at giving the reins over to the coaches to figure out what they're going to do every week. And he's not stepped on any toes from anybody that we've heard. And they've done a fairly okay job with drafting. I mean, look, they were able to get Pace Jr. from basically nothing. So overall, I think they've made good decisions. They've brought in good talent. And while there have been some hiccups, when you deal with injuries, that's just typically going to happen. I think they'll be okay. As for what they do in the future, that's up in the air. But right now, I think they're still okay. So no, right. I can't take that potato.
Well, that was my spicy one anyway. So
yeah, I was gonna say that was a bit extreme.
That's a very spicy haymaker potato.
Do I believe that they are definitely kind of flying by the seat of their pants? Absolutely, but at the same time, there's not much better they can do at the moment. I'm trying to think of one final one here off the cuff. I can't go that spicy, but...
No, do it. Do it.
Maybe. Just maybe. The Chiefs will only get a wild card spot?
Actually, I was thinking about that. I'll eat that potato. Because Denver is really coming on strong. The last 4 weeks are really going to determine that, to see if Denver wins out, there's a chance the Chiefs could lose another 1 or 2 games and Denver could take over that spot. And if the Chiefs only win 1 or 2 more games and Denver wins out, Denver winds up winning that division. Considering how they started, that's just fucking wild.
That would be wild.
That would be absolutely bonkers. Really and I am here for it, so I'm going to load that sucker up and eat it. I don't care how spicy it is. It's fun.
It is fun.
All right. Before we go on to the next segment, we have some breaking news.
Didn't show up on my phone yet.
I'm just now seeing it. It's not going to be an ESPN breaking news thing, but according to Patriots insider Tom Curran, at the end of the season, the Patriots and Bill Belichick will part ways.
I mean, that's already kind of expected.
I mean, it's expected, but this is pretty well confirmed at this point. It sounds like it happened after the Germany trip. It's been sounding like Kraft has been mulling it over for a while and is going to pull the trigger. He knows there's still...
Herbert is out for the rest of the season for surgery.
Yeah, so breaking news there. Herbert is out for the rest of the season for surgery. I figured he would go down for the rest of the season. Might as well have surgery on that hand and get it right for next year. You're not in a position to contend for playoffs. That makes sense.
Exactly.
So 2 pieces of breaking news, and now we get to move on to power rankings.
Whoop, whoop. whoop, whoop, whoop.
Whoop, 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 whoop. This is going to be a weird week of power rankings.
Yeah, I'm still looking at my rankings going, do I want to move anybody around? Because I
Like,
really
I
don't like it.
want to, but I can't.
I was going to say, I can't move around too much because the problem is, there's a lot of my top 10 teams have lost, and I can't put them in with other people, and so it's like, this is just going to be a weird top 10.
Exactly. And even the new teams that I'm bringing in, all of them have been in my top 10 before, but I can't justify bringing them from just outside the top 10 to, like, the 4th spot on my rankings. It just doesn't work that way.
That's kind of what I did that with one team in particular, but we'll get there when we get there, because I think this team is a team I snubbed for a while, and I'm finally like, okay, you can finally go in my top 10, and I put them maybe a little higher than I should have, but...
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start then. My number 10 team is the Motor City Kitties, the Detroit Lions. You're still in my top 10, but you are dangerously close to slipping out. If you keep slipping up, you are slipping out.
So at 10, I have the Rams. Yeah, you lost. But my God, it was a close game against arguably the top team in the NFL. So, frankly, I think any other team, they win that game. So,
Number 9, the Chiefs. You've now dropped 2 in a row, and you dropped one to the fucking Bills, of all people. Dudes, y'all might be looking at a wild card spot, so you fell way down my rankings, because you deserve to.
At 9, I have the Chiefs for all the same reasons. I agree wholeheartedly. You guys aren't looking like the Chiefs, and you haven't been looking like the Chiefs. The only reason you were up higher is because you somehow kept winning games. Now you're starting to lose games.
Number 8, the Broncos. You know what? You guys are looking pretty good again. You might win that division.
Possible.
Yeah, you're going to be up on the power rankings for right now.
Number 8, I have the Lions. They have continued to slip, but they're at that point where, man, another bad loss, and you probably are out of my top 10.
Number 7, a team that I thought would stay outside the top 10 for the rest of the season, but apparently not. The Bengals. I don't know what to say, man. Y'all, that backup QB is a good backup for right now. Y'all might ride him into a wild card spot.
Number 7, I have the Bengals for all the same reasons. I want to say a little shocked by this. This is a little weird.
This is a little weird. Number 6, the Cleveland Browns. You're 8-5. Joe Flacco looked good. Honestly, I should drop you for putting him back to the practice squad. What the fuck are you doing? But there's still a chance for you in this division. And I like, the Ravens are probably going to win it, but you guys have been playing really well. So I'm very happy with what you guys have been doing.
At number 6, I have the Browns for all the same reasons.
Okay, this is
this is the one that I finally put in my top 10 and maybe threw up a little higher than I normally would, but it's because I have been kind of snubbing them for the last couple of weeks. They finally have convinced me that, okay, this defense might be just enough to drag their ass into the playoffs.
And here's the funny thing about it. I have had them in my top 10 before.
You have.
And
yeah.
I thought about jumping them up higher, but I couldn't do it. As much as I wanted to, I couldn't.
Yeah, I get it.
So this is the change I made this morning. Number 5, I have the Finns.
Okay.
You are going to get penalized for losing to the Titans. And the only reason that you're going to get where you're at, and the other team that lost that should have slipped is because the teams that they've lost to are above them in the rankings. And thus, I don't penalize them as much because they've lost to teams that were obviously very good teams. You lost to a team that's probably not even going to make the playoffs. That hurts.
So at number 5, I have the Philadelphia Eagles because, frankly, the Cowboys were below them in my ranking last week, and now they're above them because they shellacked the shit out of them. They're down below me. They're down here this far because this is, frankly, the last 2 weeks have looked abysmal. You have not looked good, and this was really bad. Like, this was a game that everyone was like, hey, this should be a close game. This should be a fun game because both teams are really good. You guys got fucking shellacked 13-33. That's not even much of a competition. You guys are 5. I don't care.
I have the Eagles at 4 because I believe I did have the Cowboys ahead of them last week, because of their loss to the Niners, whom I had ahead of them when the Niners beat them.
I had both times the Eagles were above mine. They finally have dropped
Both
to
times
the point where
below,
I believe they are.
Yeah, both times I
So.
think they were below my other teams. The only time they lost to a team that was below them was the first one. I can't remember which one that was.
I can't even remember anymore.
Was it the
It was so long ago.
I don't.
Was it the Chiefs?
It might have been. I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, when they lost that first one, I was like, okay, you need to no. That's the only one. But other than that, I've had other teams above them and they've lost to them, and I'm like, you guys still. I wanted to put you down further. Like I wanted to put the Browns at 4 and put the Finns at 6 and the Eagles at 5, but I couldn't justify jumping the Browns up that high. And that's really what you guys are. You guys are benefiting from the fact that most everybody below you lost. And the teams that won that were good enough to jump into the rankings, I just can't justify jumping that high. And that's the only reason you're where you are. You lose again, you're really going to fall down the rankings. I don't care.
Fair enough. At 4, I have the Dolphins. I put them here because, yeah, they lost, but they were in the driver's seat until the very end, and they had lost Tyreek Hill, and were still at that point till the very end. It was a much closer game than the Eagles-Cowboys, which is why I put the Dolphins up higher. And I can completely
understand your logic on that.
So,
number 3, the Ravens. And the reason you're 3, you guys and the Panthers had to go to overtime. So I can't justify putting you higher up. I want to. You guys are probably still going to be one of the best. You guys are probably still the best team in the AFC. But yeah, you're only 3.
So I have at 3 the Cowboys because you beat the shit out of the Eagles. You're now gone from, I think I had you at 5 last week. You've moved up to 3. You're definitely contending. You're very good. I still think there are 2 teams personally that are better, but that's just me. Obviously.
And I have the Cowboys at 2 because they slacked the shit out of the Eagles. You absolutely smacked them around and you dominated them. Whereas the Ravens struggled against the Rams, who are a good team, but they weren't considered a great team to start the season, especially. And even recently they've been good, but just getting over that hump has been a little bit difficult for them at times. The Cowboys, on the other hand, took a team that was the Super Bowl favorite and just slapped them like they were nothing, especially after they just got slapped and everybody expected them to have a bounce-back game, and they totally didn't. So, Cowboys at number 2.
At number 2, I have the Ravens. Yeah, you came close with the Rams. I think the Rams are a sneaky, amazing team right now, especially now that they're all healthy, which was one of the reasons they didn't have a better season because they were dealing with so many injuries for so long. Now that they're healthy, this is a team that could easily make playoffs and make a really good run at it because they're still healthy. The Rams are a far better team than I think people give credit for. And then on top of that, the Ravens are one of the best teams in the AFC, if not the best team in the AFC. And when you look at the Rams, you looked at themselves, it's easy where they might have come in with expectations of going, oh, this should be an easy game, and partway through went, oh fuck, these guys are better than we thought they were. So we gotta put the gas back on. So I think the Ravens are still deserving of the second spot in my opinion, even with that Rams game, because I think the Rams are far better than people think, and the only reason they're on my power ranking of 10 for the Rams is because I gotta wait until they start winning games again to justify it. Honestly, I think the Rams are probably deserving of more like a 4 spot in my opinion, but they just had a really bad start to the season. So,
and of course, our number 1 is both the same. It's the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah,
yep.
Look, they're absolutely playing dominant football right now. They're dominating both sides of the ball. They're just crushing people. They are the giant in the playground at this point, stepping on everybody else's fucking sand.
Pretty much. There's only a couple teams that are contending for that, which, like I said, the Cowboys are a team that's going to be commanding for that for the NFC. And then obviously, if the Cowboys can't do it, the 49ers will very likely face the Ravens. In which case, then it's going to be up to those two teams, which will be a fun game. Honestly, if it comes down to it, that'll be a fun game.
All right, let's pick some Week 15 shit, shall we?
Oh God. Okay.
Thursday, Chargers at Raiders. The game has to be played. I wish it didn't, because this is going to be shit.
Fuck it. I'll go Raiders.
I'm with
pray
you
to
all.
God that this is the way Brandon Staley finally gets fucking fired.
I'm with you all the way. There is no Herbert. It's Easton Stick. So, yeah. Saturday. Yes, there are 3 Saturday games. Vikings at Bengals.
You know, as much as I want to say the Vikings are going to win this game, they're not. It's going to be the Bengals.
I agree with you.
I feel gross saying it, but I really don't know how the Vikings are going to win that game unless it's all defensive.
I have no idea, unless Mullins turns out to be really great, which I don't think is going to be the case.
I mean, we saw him when he was the backup for the Stafford of the Rams, and he's just okay. He's not. Yeah.
Steelers at Colts.
Both teams didn't play very well, but I think the Colts have a better chance, so I'm going to go with the Colts.
You know what? I will take the Steelers. Just because.
Fair enough.
Broncos at Lions.
Oof. The Lions really need to win this game. The Broncos really need to win this game. Who knows what's going to happen? I hate the Broncos. And I want to pick the Lions. But the Lions last 3 weeks have been really not good. And the Broncos have been riding pretty hot. So I think I'm going to have to go with the hot hand with the Broncos.
I agree with you. I will also take the Broncos in this one. Jets at Dolphins.
You know, this might actually be a more fun game than people expect, depending on which Zach Wilson shows up.
That's very true.
But I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
I'll take the Jets.
Ooh. That's a risk.
It is. I'm absolutely realizing it's a risk. But if Tyreek Hill is still out, the Jets' defense is really good.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Texans at Titans.
So if CJ Stroud plays, I think they can win that. But because he's in concussion protocol and we're got to go to Saturday, is that a Sunday game? That's a Sunday game.
That
right?
is a Sunday game.
So it's possible he could be out of concussion protocol, but most of the time when they go into concussion protocol, they typically mix that following week. So with that said, that means Davis Mills is probably going to play, in which case he's not bad, but when your star 2 receivers that you'd want to throw to are out, he's not given a lot of options. So I think I'm actually going to go with Tennessee.
I agree with you, actually. I think that Tennessee will do just enough to win that. Bucks at Packers.
I think they're pretty evenly matched teams, actually.
They really are.
If Jordan Love shows up and plays great, Green Bay wins, but you can say the reverse for if Baker Mayfield just shows up and has one of those great games, he could easily steal away that too. So it's a weird situation where I'm not sure. It's really kind of a 50-50, and I think I did the same thing last week with the Bucks. I think I'm going to ride it again. I think I'm going to go Bucks.
I think I will take the Packers on this one.
Gross.
I do feel gross doing it, but again, we've talked about it before. Usually when they're at home, the Packers are pretty hard to beat. Jordan Love has looked pretty good at Lambeau. It's not the magic place it once was, but I think that gives them enough of an edge, especially this time of year, and especially if it might snow. You okay?
Yeah, I was just reading something.
All right.
You're good.
Giants at Saints.
Hey, it's Tommy DeVito and the Giants.
I agree with you. I don't know if they're gonna win or not, but that's
I
gonna be
have no idea, but it'll be fun.
it'll be fun. And I'm you know what? I'm done counting them. This one I'm gonna guess for both of us because it's Falcons at Panthers. I think we're both gonna take the Falcons.
God, that could possibly be a shit show though.
Oh God, it could. It could either be really fun to watch if you're a Falcons fan, or it could be shit both ways. But either way, there's gonna be a mountain of shit somewhere in that stadium.
Oh, 100%.
Bears at Browns.
So as much as Justin Fields has gotten much better over the last couple weeks here and has looked pretty solid, you're going up against arguably the best defense currently in the league. Potentially second best, if not. Like if we're talking like you're up there with the 49ers defense. Like their offense is shit, but their defense is fucking amazing. And if that O-line doesn't protect Justin Fields, he's going to be wearing Myles Garrett as a fucking coat. So I think I'm going to go Browns, and it's going to be because of Myles Garrett.
You know what? With them dumping Joe Flacco back down and starting DTR, and as good as the Bears' defense has been lately, I'm going to say that Fields is athletic enough to escape Garrett and get upfield. I'm going to go with the Bears. And I'm probably going to regret,
but I get it.
I'm going to regret this. I know I am, but I'm doing it anyway. Bears fans, don't say I never did anything for you. Chiefs at Patriots.
I mean, it's definitely not the Patriots. I don't like the Chiefs right now, but this is the game they have to win if they want to stay in my power rankings.
I agree.
They won't move up much if they win because it's the Patriots, but
but this is a must win for the Chiefs. They have to get out, and they don't have to just win. In my opinion, they have to crush the Patriots, 45-6 or something.
Like if it's even close and it ends up being like 17-14, like that's not a good look.
No, that's not a good sign, my dudes. Yeah, this is a game you absolutely need, and the Patriots probably should just go ahead and lose it because they're now playing for draft picks.
They should be, but again, their coach/GM is not going to be there, so why the fuck would he care?
That's a good point. I think we both know who's going to win the next game. Niners at Cards. I think we're both going to take the Niners.
It could potentially be a fun game just because of Kyler, but it'll still be probably 49ers.
Commanders at Rams.
Rams. I'm not even.
Yeah, I'm not even going to question that.
Like I just told you, I think the Rams are a far better team than what their record shows, especially now that they have everybody healthy.
Cowboys at Bills.
You know, Bills have been looking better the last couple weeks here, but the Cowboys are just dominating teams that are significantly less good than they are right now, and I just don't see.
Yeah,
I think the Bills will give them a run for their money, just like they did with the Chiefs. But it's the Cowboys, man. Right,
it's the Cowboys.
They're
going to
really
put it down in like the fourth quarter and win the game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ravens at Jags for the Sunday night game.
Again, Jags are playing pretty decently, but that last game wasn't great. Is Trevor Lawrence 100%? We don't know. I don't trust that defense to stop Lamar from doing whatever the fuck he wants. So it's going to be Ravens.
I agree with you 100%. And the final game of the week, Eagles at Seahawks.
Should be the Eagles. It has to be the Eagles. If it isn't the Eagles, they got a lot of problems.
I agree with you 100%. I'll take the Eagles this time, but God help them if they don't win.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk hockey. I'm going to do a hockey corner real quick. And this is something that within the past week has come up, and I think it needs to be addressed and talked about. So I'm going to talk about these incidences in terms of punishment level for what they did. So we're going to start at the first one. Friday night? Wild and Oilers. Wild were at the Oilers, and later in the game, um, Jonas Brodin, our best defenseman, um, did a quick shoulder check, checked over his shoulder, and went to play a puck, and then got drilled in the back between the numbers by Evander Kane. You're not allowed to hit a guy like that. That's in hockey. That's a no-no. And now Brodin is out with an injury. Kane did not get a penalty, and he has not got a fine or a suspension for it. Obviously, a bad hit. Just recently, in the Ducks and Jets game, Ryan Strome decided that Kyle Connor was going to leave the game with one less leg and threw out a vicious knee-on-knee hit. I don't know how long Connor's going to be out for, but it was very vicious. And in fact, he got ejected from the game, major penalty, game misconduct, intent to injure. The league disciplinary office decided that he didn't do it intentionally and has declined further punishment on him, which is obvious bull jive. Now that problem is going to become the next time the Jets meet the Ducks, they're going to be out for a pound of flesh. So at this point, Strome's best option is just to give himself up and get the knocked out of him by whoever the big guy is that's going to fight him. If not, they're going to take it out on whoever they can, and it's going to get ugly quickly. Sure. And we'll talk about what happens when that goes wrong here at the end of this. Then, what's his name? He got suspended for a game for this. Dylan Cousins hit Eric Goodbranson in the back, between the numbers, drove him downwards, and made sure he hit the boards head first. He got 2 minutes for boarding in the game, Cousins did. He should have gotten at least a double minor for obviously a very bad boarding hit. And one could argue he should have gotten a game misconduct for intent to injure. I think had that happened, the follow-on thing would not have happened. But instead, nope, the follow-on thing happened. And later in the game, Goodbranson was back on the ice. Cousins was out there. Cousins got the puck pass to him. Goodbranson blasted the fuck out of him and then tried to get him to fight. Cousins denied the fight. Goodbranson said, fine, picked him up, threw him to the ice, and then proceeded to beat the shit out of him. In fact, Cousins shelled up. Literally did the turtle shell, like put my arms up around my head while Goodbranson just fucking punched the shit out of him. Goodbranson got a game for that. And that wouldn't have happened if the refs had taken care of the fucking game and not just given it 2 minutes. It also wouldn't have happened if Cousins had been, like, look, I get that Goodbranson is like 6'2" or 6'3", and you're like 5'11". Okay? I get you're giving up weight and height, but you know what? You did something really fucked up, take your lumps. If you take your lumps, that whole thing probably goes away, and at the end of the game, Goodbranson probably climbs you on the shoulder and goes, good job for taking your lumps. That was a shitty play, but now you know better. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's how hockey is always played. Now for the final one. This is the one that I saw it, and it scared the shit out of me when I saw it. So, Dylan Larkin has a history of neck injuries. Primarily because he got tomahawked in the neck by Jamie Benn, who didn't get a penalty or a suspension when he did it in the playoffs. Probably should have gotten both. So there was a play out in front of the net, and one of the players on the Senators accidentally fell into Matthew Joseph, who then threw his hands up to kind of protect himself and got his stick up, and he caught Dylan Larkin like right in the head, neck, ear area, right here with his stick, cross-check, full bore. Larkin went face first to the ice one arm up kind of like this, the other arm is kind of back here like that, like obviously not getting up. Like he's out fucking cold. He looks like he got hit by a Mike Tyson right hand, okay? He is out on the ice. And immediately, for those who say Joseph is a dirty player, there is history between Joseph and Larkin, but the moment it happened, Joseph looked over at the Red Wings bench and was like, hey, you guys need to get out here now. This is bad. Like, he wasn't, like, stepping over him like, fuck that guy. Like, it was quite obviously an accident. Now, right after he went down, Artem Zub unfortunately fell on top of Dylan Larkin. So Zub's getting up. David Perron turns around, and all he sees is Zub getting up off of his captain, Larkin, who is on the ice and not moving. And he makes an assumption. And the moment he does it, Zub goes, no! Wait!
Thunk.
Oh, yeah, dude, full on cross-checked him in the face. Now, Zub stayed in the game, and he's okay, but he got fucking thumped. Perron had an in-person hearing, and they suspended him for 6 games. That is a massive suspension, but it was obviously an intent to injure. I get that it was retaliatory because you see your captain on the ice, but yeah, you can't be fucking doing that. You can't fucking do that.
Jesus
Not in the
Christ.
face, dude. No. Yeah, no, and you got the wrong guy, too. Like, if you hit Joseph, maybe that's not as bad, but at the same time, it obviously wasn't done on purpose. And you got, like, cooler heads have to prevail at some point. But yeah, the league tried to set a tone like that is not okay.
Fair enough, fair.
So that's the hits I wanted to talk about, like an escalating procedure. I think they got the Perron thing right. Do I think Joseph deserves a suspension? No. Maybe a fine. But again, I don't think it was done on purpose. I don't think he purposely went out there with intent to injure Larkin. And I think he feels really bad about it, if I'm going to be honest. Like, he and Larkin are not going to be best friends. But to have it happen in a freak way like that, I don't think he's okay with that. Like I said, hockey is a weird and violent sport played at 100 miles an hour on knife shoes with fucking clubs. Okay? And things are going to happen out there. But if you make a bad hit, and you know you made a bad hit, take your lumps. Throw the gloves off, get the shit knocked out of you. It'll be okay. Refs, you need to start calling bad hits. Call the rule book, and you'll have way less fights if you just call the fucking rule book. Now, that all being said, that's the end of Hockey Corner. Let's do my power rankings. Number 10, the Toronto Maple Leafs. They are 14-6-5 with 33 points. Their last 10, they are 6-1-3. They're starting to put it together. Starting to. They've had a lot of troubles, and it's not going to be easy for them considering that their starting goalie, Joseph Woll, had a non-contact injury and now has a high ankle sprain. What is it with ankles this year?
You know, they're just apparently the universe just said fuck the ankles this year. I don't know, man.
Number 9, the New York Islanders, who are 13-7-7 with 33 points, and in their last 10, they are 7-1-2. They are the only team on this list with a negative goal differential. They're at -4.
Nice.
Which just goes to show you they don't score a lot, but they also don't get scored on a whole lot. And that's the conundrum with them. They play very solid defense. Their goalies are amazing. I don't know if they're going to make a Stanley Cup, but they're at least pretty good. Number 8. You all right?
Yeah.
Number 8, the Colorado Avalanche. 17-9-2, 36 points. Last 10, 5-3-2. They're still playing pretty good hockey, but I think they're kind of just coasting to the playoffs at this point. They're just going to play good enough to get into the playoffs, and then they're going to turn it up. Number 7, the Florida Panthers. 17-8-2, 36 points. Last 10, 6-3-1. They're starting to come around, too. Starting to look like the team that went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year. So they are really playing pretty well. They're playing good hockey right now. They're a team to keep your eyeballs on. Number 6, the Winnipeg Jets at 16-8-2, 34 points. Last 10, 7-3-0. The Jets are still out there playing really good hockey. If they ever had a year where I was like, oh, they could go to the finals, this is the year. They are playing exceptionally good hockey. Even though they got rid of Pierre-Luc Dubois, they're playing really good hockey. I'm very, very happy with what they're doing right now. Ooh, real quick. Breaking news. Wizards and Capitals owner Ted Leonsis plans to move both franchises out of downtown D.C. and into Northern Virginia.
Would they have to change their name then?
I don't know.
Not really.
Well, because D.C. is on the border between Virginia and Maryland, technically, depending on if you just moved it to the outskirts of D.C., you would be in Northern Virginia.
Yeah, so maybe they'd be still considered fine.
Anyway, just wanted to put that out there while we were moving. Number 5, the Boston Bruins. 18-5-3, 39 points. Last 10, 5-4-1. Again, they are playing a lot better than I would have given them credit for this season. But they are starting to finally feel the pinch of not having certain players anymore. You can start to tell that they are definitely not the Bruins of last year. Number 4, the Vancouver Canucks, 18-9-1, 37 points. Last 10, 6-4. 6-4-0. They're not as hot as they were to start the season. They were absolutely on fire to start the season. But they're still playing really good hockey, and I wouldn't put anything past them. They are going to be a force to be reckoned with for the rest of the season. Number 3, the LA Kings. 16-5-4, 36 points. Last 10, 7-2-1. They are absolutely wrecking shop everywhere they go. They are playing incredibly good hockey. I think that they have a real shot at a cup this year. Number 2, the New York Rangers, 19-6-1, 39 points. Last 10, 7-3-0. Look, the Rangers they're otherworldly. They have some of the best goaltending in the league. On top of which, right now, even without their top goaltender, Jonathan Quick, has had a resurgence and is an unbeaten goalie in New York. It is stupid how good he has suddenly become. Goalies make no sense in hockey. At number 1, the Vegas Golden Knights, 19-5-5, 43 points. Last 10, 6-1-3. Look, they're the Golden Knights. They had a down period, and now they're back up again. They get knocked down, and they get back up again. Yay. All right. So that being said, well, actually, here's what the funny part is. I don't think the band would give a shit, knowing what I do about the band.
No, but their copyright owner would definitely.
Oh, yeah, EMI would definitely hit us. But the band themselves would be like, go ahead, use it. We don't give a fuck.
Yep.
They're very anarchist.
They are.
Extremely so.
And most of their music, to be honest, is not that good, but that's okay.
No, it's not. It's so weird. But they lasted 30 years.
Yeah, they were around for a while. I don't know how.
Because anarcho-punk is one of those weird things, and then they went into folk music, and...
Yeah, they're weird.
Yeah, they were very weird. Anyway. All right, that's pretty much everything I have. Now, before we get off, Chris and I were talking about something before the stream that I want to share here. So, if you didn't know, Chris has a gaming channel called Games Past Their Prime. He also streams live on Twitch. I would recommend going to check him out. You are currently streaming Sekiro, correct? You
Correct.
finished Lies of P. You are streaming Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Now, that game is giving Chris headaches on occasion, because it is not the easiest game in the world, and it is very much sometimes that game that you just want to break TVs and controllers over. So Chris and I are going to begin on Friday evenings. We're going to start streaming a playthrough together of Baldur's Gate 3. I am going to let Chris make all the decisions. Even if I'm the character with the highest charisma and do the talking and everything, Chris and I will read the options, and I will let Chris decide where we go, what we do, and what I say. I might play a bard just because they have a plethora of odd options that are not available to other classes. They have some of the best overall interactions with certain things. Because they're bards, they're goofy.
I don't know. Sometimes I play charisma builds too, so I don't know. I guess we'll see.
We'll see. Chris is going to decide on his build day of. But we are going to try to start deck this Friday. If you want to go there, it is Games Past Their Prime on Twitch. Look us up. We will be in there. We will be having fun. We will stream that live on Fridays until we beat the game. I don't know if we're going to be evil or good or just chaotic. We don't know yet either.
I don't know.
Chris
might be just fun to be chaotic neutral. I don't know.
It
we'll
might
see.
just be fun to do whatever the fuck we want.
It'll depend on the day and my mood.
There you go. So we're going to stream that on Fridays right now and see how that goes. We'll start putting it up on his channel, Games Past Their Prime, which is the YouTube channel, where he has all of his Lies of P content, as he has streamed that twice now because he had to go through a new game, full new game, and a new game plus.
Yes.
So recommend if you enjoy video game playthroughs, check that out. Check out our content over there. We're going to enjoy making it. We hope you guys enjoy watching it. We will see how that goes. If it goes good, maybe we'll create a Bearded Brothers Gaming Twitch channel where Chris and I play games together. And we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, though, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
Fuck no.
You just want to eat.
I'm hungry.
In that case, we wish all of you a wonderful week. We hope that whatever you want, whatever you do and put your mind to, you can accomplish this week. We will say that we hope that you all like us, share, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that wonderful shit. And we'll see you back here next week. And if you come by Friday, we'll see you on the stream Friday. In the meantime, stay bearded. Peace out. You know what? Just for that,